Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Mitchell's Childhood Memories, Part 17. Today I'm going to speak about a very special day in my life, my bar mitzvah. When a Jewish boy becomes 13 years old, he has a bar mitzvah, and for a girl, it's called a bat mitzvah. This is a very, very special occasion in Judaism. It's a day when the boy becomes a man, when the boy accepts the responsibilities of adulthood and ready to move out into life, into the real world, based on his own actions. Culturally and religiously, it's a very, very, very important day for a Jewish boy's life. And I prepared for this for like 5 years. I went to Hebrew school and studied Hebrew and studied prayers and chanting, all getting ready for this big day. And it's a very big day, and it's also it's a lot of pressure on a young Jewish boy. Well, finally, I was approaching my 13th birthday, and my bar mitzvah was held on 28th October, 1961. And it wasn't quite my birthday, it's November, but in the Jewish calendar, that's approximately when I was 13. And it was at my Jewish temple, Congregation B'nai Israel in East New York, Brooklyn. And that day, the synagogue was packed full of people, congregants, family, friends. So it was all packed. There was a lot of pressure on me. And there was a prayer to be bar mitzvah, and that's called a haftorah. And it has to be sung and intoned with an intonation in a certain way and sung correctly. And when I first got up to chant it, I was a little nervous, but as time went by, I gained in confidence, and I knew I was doing a good job, and I was doing it beautifully. And everyone said it was an excellent job. And then afterwards, I actually went on the prayer podium of the synagogue, and I actually led the congregation in prayers and in song for the rest of the Shabbat, the rest of the Sabbath. And when that finally ended, I was so relieved that all the pressure was over and I was feeling great. And my parents kindly made a big kiddush for everyone downstairs. That is, we went downstairs, and there was a kiddush, a blessing for wine. And then my parents prepared all these, you could say a brunch for everyone who was there. And so it must have been a big expense for them. But they did everything possible to make my bar mitzvah a very, very special day. That evening was the evening of my celebration party. And my parents, again, they spared no expense. They wanted to make it special. They invited, I would say, approximately 200 people, mostly relatives, although a few friends of mine and a few friends of theirs, neighbors of theirs. And it was a really, really, really special occasion. It was at the Ocean Parkway Jewish Center in Brooklyn. And my parents did everything possible to make it a wonderful day for me. But I'd like to say this day was more just honoring me and my bar mitzvah. It was honoring my elders, the people who had come before me. Among the guests were dozens of people born in the 1800s, very elderly people. They were the real heroes. They're the ones who lived in Eastern Europe in poverty. They suffered through violence. They suffered through so much discrimination, and they made it to America with just the shirts on their back, and they worked hard, and they established themselves. And because of that, that's the reason I was standing there at my bar mitzvah. So it was more than just honoring me. I was standing on their shoulders. Really, they were the real heroes. What I remember about the first thing about the bar mitzvah was my dad looked so handsome that day, and my mom looked so beautiful. She had this amazing white dress on, and she just looked absolutely gorgeous. Everything was spectacular. You walked in, and there was a buffet. When people arrived, there was a buffet to snack on before the main meal, and this buffet was spectacular. It was decorated so beautifully. I've never seen a buffet like that, even afterwards, all my years. This buffet, if you wanted meat, there was meat, and there was fish, and there was eggs, and there was bread, and there was salad, and there was fruit, and there was vegetables, and there was all sorts of varieties of snacks and finger food that you can eat. So believe me, people were all filled up, completely filled up even before the meal. Of course, there were drinks where the adults were drinking alcohol at the same time. Everyone was enjoying themselves. In other words, this was a very Freilach affair. Freilach means in Yiddish joyous. It was a joyous occasion. What do Jewish people do when they're happy? We dance, and we dance. We dance slow dances. We dance fast dances. Most of all, we did a long rendition of the Hava Nagila. Hava Nagila, Hava Nagila. We're starting to small circles of dances, larger circles, and we changed partners. We're going one way, we're going the other way. But it was all the song was finally over. We were all exhausted, but was so ecstatic in happiness. That's how amazing it was. I remember some of my best friends were there. Howie was there. The Paget brothers were there. Bart, my friend Arnold, Charlie, Barry, Arthur. Some young ladies were there. Susan and the one girl that we called her Cookie, and I think her name was Carol, and it was Eileen and Steffi Brock. And so my friends were there. We were all having a fantastic time. What I remembered, just a few incidents that I remember. One was that during this affair, it was supposed to be my younger brother Norman, who was 4 years old, was supposed to walk down the aisle and bring me my prayer shawl. It's called a talit. But he fell asleep before that. And so we had to make a quick change, and got my uncle Mark, who was 15 years old at that time, to walk down and give me the talit. And he wasn't expecting this, and he wasn't happy. You can see from the expression in his house, why me? He didn't want to do it, but anyway, all's well that ends well. A couple other things that were very important to me was the candle lighting ceremony for my birthday cake. I called up all my elders, my both grandparents on both sides of my family, my aunts and uncles and other elders, and they came and they lit the candle and put it on the cake. So again, it was a great honor for me that they came up and lit the candles. It means a lot to me. And they all kissed me. I think I got too many kisses. At some point I said, okay, that's enough, but it was something very, very memorable. Also memorable was I went into a private room with my 4 grandparents, Grandpa Dave, Grandma Anna, Grandpa Nathan, Grandma Rose, and they all blessed me. They all took their hands and put their hands over my head and blessed me. And wow, I felt the energy then, and I felt it now. That blessing that they gave me for a happy bar mitzvah and a happy life is with me to this very, very, very day. So all in all, it was a fantastic affair, and it was a big smashing success. I was in the 7th heaven. It was so happy. But again, it was like the end of an era. All these even my great grandmother was there, and even my great grandmother was there. But my bubby and so many, as I say, relatives from the 1800s, and soon afterwards, my bubby died, and my grandpa Nathan shortly died, and many of those. They passed. So it was the last time all these great people were there together. And my brother Norman was bar mitzvah 9 years later, and most of those people were no longer there. So it was the end of a generation. Again, I just like to say that my bar mitzvah was a grand success. You can see in that picture my nice curly hair and how handsome I looked and young that I looked. And I accepted the responsibility of becoming an adult and going into the adult world, and what actually happened after that, I'll talk about in the next episode. But it was a great day. Thank you everyone for being here, and all the best.